Bang, we are recording. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Blabbermouth, especially Carrie Bullis. I see you just joined in. And this is a special one, as you can tell, because it is our Shape Eastern District Reflection. So we're going to go over everything we loved about the conference, anything we think can improve it, and just basically tell everyone all our thoughts about it. So let's start on my bottom right. We have Betsy Elizabeth Caldwell. And can you tell us a little bit about your background and what did you do at the conference that was so amazing?
You're gonna have to repeat that because I heard you say my background,
Sure.
and then I didn't hear anything
So
else.
at the conference, a little bit about yourself so everyone can know who Betsy Caldwell is. And then at the conference, what were you doing? What were you busy doing the entire time?
Yeah, the entire time. My name is Betsy Caldwell, and I'm a K through 8 physical educator, and I'm getting all kinds of blab things coming up there. That's interesting. And I hold a couple of different professional roles for Eastern District. I am the student leadership coordinator. So I spent the conference setting up a program for outstanding future professionals and other students that came to the conference. That role is so important because they are future students that are just graduating from college, students that are in college. And for me, it's a really special thing because I was an OFP. We're playing it forward and giving back to the profession.
You know, what I really liked, one of the things you did, Betsy, was when the young professionals came around to meet us all and had to get a selfie. It was really cool. And just them and talk to them you know, make connections. It was real important for them, for the people that were there, to make some of the connections that they did. So I think you did an outstanding job of that.
Grace.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Kim. They didn't even get the full scavenger hunt this year. But it's a lot of fun, isn't it, Grace? We love working with them. We love showing them the ropes and introducing them to people. And yeah, I think one of the highlights for me was we have a daily reflection. And yesterday, as we did our goodbyes, a couple of them were saying it was great to go up and do the selfie and meet people because they were really impressed with how they could meet somebody that was a teacher of the year. And I had to remind them that, you know, we don't do these things for the notoriety. We do it just because we like doing it.
Yeah, the selfie's a fantastic idea because now you have a reason to go talk to somebody you knew. And it's like a quick icebreaker. It's not awkward. Like, so can you tell me about, you know, you're going up, you're introducing yourself, and then it's a really good idea because now, hey, let's take a selfie. And then from there, you can, you know, get a little conversation started. I like that. I'm about to start using that if I'm ever a wingman for someone. Grace.
There you go. Well, you know, I see Grace laughing in there. The interesting thing is that this year, it was totally different than it's been in years past because in years past, we've had 2.5 days before the banquet. So, and the kids have gotten to kind of like get to know each other, you know, go to sessions and that kind of thing. And this year, it was like all of a sudden the first night when they barely knew each other or knew anybody, they were at the
and they said they liked that better, right, Betsy? That was one.
Yeah, they did. They said they liked it. Though, you know what we have to remember, as I was looking over that list today, at lunch today, Grace, I said to myself, but they don't know any different. So, you know, they liked it the way that they liked it this year because that was their program.
Yeah, pretty much. If they didn't know last year, they
so. They had a lot of fun. They had a great time.
We keep breaking up on us, but
yeah,
I want Grace to step in. Grace,
can you guys hear me?
Tell me, you were a professional now. Last year, you were the future professional.
I was an OFP 2 years ago.
2 years ago. So tell us the.
I'm so old now.
Yeah, you've been in the game so long.
35 and up.
Can you tell us a little bit about the dichotomy? What did you see the difference between when you were the professional to the future professional to now, and how the conference affected you?
So I think, and one thing that the OFPs noted on was the family aspect of Eastern District, and that's one thing that they said is that they felt like a family, and I don't think there's a big difference between the professional world and then the future professional world in the sense of that there is a family aspect in both realms, and it's really cool. It was really cool to see both and how the OFPs have joined in on a little family now. I think that's the coolest thing and the coolest, I guess, similarity between the two.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is cool about family. Uh-oh, we have a surprise caller. Look who it is.
Basketball.
I'm ready. I got it.
I'm glad my interpreter got here, so everybody knows what we're talking about.
Nice. So now here's what we're doing. When we're talking, just make sure we mute ourselves in the background. That way we'll have that whatever feedback. I think it's Judy. But I'm going to ask Judy and start out with you. Tell us, what was your keynote about? And then I want us to ask some questions. So everyone mute yourself, and J-Lo, tell us your keynote, lady.
So my keynote is a theme that's been going on for a couple of years. You know, I'm a supervisor in a school district, and everything that comes down from the National Association, I've got to translate into how can it make my students healthier, and how can it make my teachers better teachers through reflection. And so if I have to pick one piece of the profession where I think we have to do a better job, it's to get the non-believers into the fold. And for me, that in my work has been moral courage, calling people out on the stuff they're doing wrong, but not, you know, accusatory in our approach, but bringing them into the fold approach. And so that whole scenario is called moral courage. And I learned the term, oddly enough, I never knew it before. I learned the term from my assistant superintendent for personnel in South Orange Maplewood School District. And as a young supervisor, he said to me, you know, Judy, if you want to affect change in this district and in this world, you got to have moral courage. And that is standing up for what you know is right, no matter what happens. And that can be hard in the political climate we're in our schools, just in our gyms and in our culture, in our schools. And it's a hard thing, and it only takes champions, you know, and I know only champions can do this. And so instead of doing a keynote that lifts up every champion and pats them on the back like we constantly do, thank you for being here, thank you for the good work you're doing. Yeah, that all. And then champion 2.0, the next level of yourself is let's call people out on their junk. And that's what the keynote was about.
All right, so this brings us, you know, Betsy saying moral courage should be part of your everyday. Absolutely. So now this brings me to my first thing about the conference that I found could be changed. So before Judy's about to speak, every person who died that ever stepped foot into a physical education class was named before the energy in the room went completely gone. You went into a very cold room. Can you tell us, why do we name all the people that died up there? I mean, there must have been 4,000 names. What was going on?
Yeah. I got to tell you, I was quite shocked about the list from New Jersey. There were 15 or more folks that passed in New Jersey. It's usually 2 or 3 names for every state. And we were trying to find a place for that, as I understand it. We usually have a memorial lecture that is fully somber, the way that you heard the somberness over those 10 minutes. And, you know, they restructured the memorial lecture into really what was called a celebration of life. So yeah, I mean, it is required by the district to announce the passings in the district as part of a tradition that we do to honor those who have passed and have given their life for the profession. I don't know. I don't know, however, to make that a celebration when you're announcing people who have passed. Especially since I did recognize some of the names from New Jersey. And I can't lie to you. I was in the first row saying, well, I'm going to be awkward with, Katy Perry and like I'm a champion. That's going to be a little weird. But I certainly did change the tone pretty quickly.
Oh,
if
yes,
you noticed.
I think the video showed that too. I mean, you got people up, you got people clapping. I gave you a lot of kudos for that because that was not easy to take a room that was so somber. And then boom, here comes J-Lo rock.
It's funny too because when is the right moment to honor those who have passed in our profession? And when it's my time, I'll be honored to be the one that has their name said. It's just to honor those who have given their lives for physical education. So I don't know that there's any appropriate time to do that when it's not, sad. But at the same time, I hope that people understood.
I have a great time. When there's a drink in my hand. Done. Problem solved. I fixed it. Nice. Yes.
I think the boards in the boards this year were a nice touch. Did you walk into that at all, Judy? You were there, you said, right? With all the names. It wasn't the memorial lecture. You were there.
I'm sorry. Repeat that again.
So this year it was different. What was it called again? I'm sorry, I forget. No, it wasn't the memorial lecture this year, right? No, it wasn't the memorial lecture this year.
Celebration
of life. So the boards this year were nice to have all the names listed out like that. Last year, it was too
right.
That was nice.
Yeah, because it was a somber event, and at that memorial lecture was the time when past presidents were like paraded in. And I thought it was really cool, at least for me as a past president, to be acknowledged in a general session for the service I gave Eastern District. So that was kind of cool. I felt like a little celebrity there, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I got a little somber for a little bit. But I think, we all have to think about the fact that people who have come before us have trailblazed the way for what's coming next. So it's kind of cool. It's sad for like 10 minutes. And I don't know how you make that any different. Just in a, how do you do that in a way that helps celebrate their life instead of make it feel so sad? Maybe the script that goes along with it has to change. Maybe.
Yeah, I would imagine it would have to come from there, or you would have to find a better time for it. Maybe the timing, and there's really no great place to say these 150 people have died. So I get that part of it. But right before we're about to start this conference, everybody's psyched up. The energy's there. We for me, I had just drove in. A lot of people had just saw each other for the first time, maybe in 6 months and 9 months and a year. And then, we're sitting there and it's just like, and again, I have less patience than the average person. So I get that. That's part of my problem as well. But maybe there should be a different time. Maybe the timing. I don't know. Maybe right before Dr. Ballard's, we should have done it.
No, he did not just do that.
So anyway, the keynote was fantastic. The energy was there, and the fact that you were telling us we need to step up, we need to say, like somebody over there said, so am I supposed to tell my coworker that they're not supposed to play dodgeball? Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Oh yeah, you are. And you could punch him in the throat too, but I don't think that would be good. So that's a Jersey thing, punch in the throat. So don't punch him in the throat, but just do it another way.
Yeah, a very nice punch in the throat, perhaps. But yeah, when you see something,
Grace,
they always talk about if you don't say something and you see it happen, then it's almost like you're complicit, like you're accepting it, like you agree with it. So if you walk by and you see two kids fighting, and you were a student and you did nothing, therefore you said it's okay that they fought. And if you saw bullying, if you saw harassment, if you saw anything, you didn't say anything, you didn't step up, then you're complicit in there. You're saying, well, I ignore it. It's not a big deal. It's not something I need to spend my time and energy on. And that could go for anything as a teacher in the classes or as a student. So I think that bringing that up was absolutely fantastic. Any last thoughts we have for Ms. Judy LoBianco?
I was just going to say, it reminds me of the quote that Joey used at the PE Institute that said, the standards you walk past is the standards you accept.
That's good.
Yep, absolutely. All right, we're going to kick Dr. Ballard. We're going to kick J-Lo off. J-Lo, thank you for coming to hang. Like I said, I loved your keynote. The energy was there. I put a little clip in the video of it. You could see that everyone was psyched up, and that's hard to do on a Sunday morning at around 9 o'clock when everyone's there. Grace, you are up now. Ready for this, for the hot seat? What was your favorite session? What did you like?
Okay, but first, should I hit mute when I'm done talking? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, there's no feedback now, so we don't have to worry about it. When there is feedback, I mute people, but I'm pretty sure if I mute when it records, it'll all go away. So, because if I mute the other people, like I was doing to Judy when I was talking, hopefully the recording only will pick up what comes out of my screen. So we'll find out. We're learning all the time. So you don't have to worry about it now. Back to, what was your favorite session and why?
My favorite session was probably, I got to call out Teresa Cohn, and she did the Margaret Paulding lecture this year. She just she did the girls with disabilities. And
hold on, stop 1 second. What did she do?
The Margaret what's the last name? Paulding, I think is the last name. Correct me if I'm wrong, but she did the lecture.
What is that? Is that a history? They do it every year. Somebody does a speech, or what's the deal with that?
Yeah, so it was Judy. Where's Judy? She could probably give you more of the details, but I've gone to it.
We have a caller back.
Yeah,
Betsy, do you have an answer for us here?
Help me out, but
Yeah, it's just a traditional lecture that they have every year.
And what is the lecture on? What's the impetus behind it? Or does somebody just stand up and start lecturing?
No,
Honoring a woman. There we go. All right, now so it's honoring a woman. So does the woman, is the lecture always a woman?
it isn't always a woman. It's honoring someone in the profession
That's a lady.
that is passed.
Oh, that died. Okay, now we're making a little headway. Now I have to see what's going on. All right, so Grace, tell us a little bit.
well, what Teresa did was it honoring girls with disabilities, and it was really cool just to see her passion for what she's worked so hard for in the last like bazillion years that she's been in the profession. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but just the way the speech that she had laid out was just really, really passionate. And, it makes me one day want to be able to do something like that, like more so than a session, because I think that was really coming from her heart more so than like presenting the material that she knows. And that was really, really meaningful to watch a woman that I really look up to talk so intensely about something.
And what was she talking about? What had she done to help the girls with disabilities?
So she gave a lot of like personal stories of just students with disabilities that she's worked with. She talked a lot about how she's interacted with our students at Rowan, because we do a program, or we did, now that I'm a college graduate, we did a program that works with students with disabilities. And so she touched on how she's watched her students touch the students with disabilities' lives, and that was really cool to hear her talk about that a lot in detail and see all the pictures that she had.
You bring up a good point when we're talking about what are the things that meant the most to you, and you're talking about a woman that you respected, but their personal experiences, not just telling you what you know. And I think that's a good point for people to hear and know is there is information that's great to share, but when people speak from their heart and share what's in their heart and their experiences, a lot of times that's a whole lot more meaningful, which is why, things like Twitter and all the things, other things that we're using, even this blab, as we talk from experience, then it's going to connect with somebody and it can, really help motivate. And you just gave a perfect example of that, Grace. So that really struck me. Thanks for sharing that.
Well, it definitely struck me. So, and I've known Teresa now for 6 years, and the things that she still says that come out of her mouth are just, they give me chills sometimes, because she's so deep and there's so much to her. And it was really cool to see her say something I've never really heard before.
That's really cool. And again, I'm glad that I did this blab because I had no idea that there was a woman lecture about a woman every single year at the EDA. And that's something that should go on my list because I would really like to hear people talk about themselves a little more so I could get their story. As Dr. Ballard knows, I love my stories. I love trying to get to understand people and know people and what's going on behind behind the scenes. And how long was the lecture for?
It was a session long, whatever.
An hour and 15.
Yeah, and it ended right on. I remember looking at my watch, and it ended right on time. But yeah, I guess it was just the session.
Gracie,
Wow.
did you have a chance to tell her afterwards by chance?
Well, I tweeted a picture that I look up to her, but that's about it.
I would say, if you ever get an opportunity to let people know, a lot of times something like that's real important for her to hear one day.
Oh yeah.
Don't be shy about that. Don't don't feel bad about it. But I would go and let them know because so many times people think, I don't know, though, or you hear things like that all the time when we really don't. Don't make any assumptions. Go let her know what you think.
Yeah, I'm lucky with them. I see them very often. They live, their one house is down the street from me, literally not even a mile away. So I could pretty much easily go over there. And
Nice. Jayla, what do you have to add to this?
Well, Grace is taking me back to a wonderful time in my life because I was an OFP when Teresa Cohn was an Eastern District president. And when I was Eastern District president in 2013, in a very emotional moment, she gave me a picture of her shaking my hand, giving me my OFP award. And it had been several years before, and I have it hanging in my office because it's a moment that I'll always treasure and remember where I came from and where I'm going. So I'm so glad, Grace, that you shared that.
Judy, funny story. I have a picture of you and me on my computer from when I was an OFP.
What was I doing? Just make sure.
Making an absurd face, but that's all right.
Very good. Just making sure. What kind of picture there?
Yeah, I mean, there's no one who's been around longer in the game than the Cohns. I mean, they're fantastic. I was lucky enough to have both of them as professors at Rowan, although they probably wouldn't consider themselves lucky to have me as a student at Rowan. But anyway, that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. So that's fantastic. I'm so happy. If nothing else came out of this blab, that right there was worth it, Grace. Now, I learned something, hopefully the rest, and we will send this Dr. Cohn and Mrs. Dr. Cohn's way. So thank you. Next up, we have Kim, Dr. Ballard over here. Now, you cannot say your own keynote. That is cheating. What was your favorite thing about the conference? You can say hanging out with me, getting something to eat. You can say that. That's allowed. I'm not going to kick you off if you don't.
How about networking was my favorite part. But I will say I thoroughly enjoyed Judy's keynote as well. And, just the energy in the room at the time, everybody up and dancing. It was just such an incredible way to do it. And, someone said, before, I think in here, just the energy that set the stage for the rest of the conference, was what she did. And it was just perfect. So I'd say that was probably one of my favorite. But I think my second one was, finding the White House. I got to say, that was pretty cool. Seeing all those pictures and, I wouldn't have done that without you.
Where is the White House? I have never been there.
So again, Judy's busy doing her little thing.
Sometimes you just got to stop what you're doing and go hang with the boys.
Well, in Dr. Ballard's defense, I literally went up to her and grabbed her and I said, "We're going to lunch." I didn't ask, "Are you busy? Are you doing something?" I just said, "We're going to lunch."
I think it was that, but anyway.
Her, Nick, and I went, and I had known about the White House before. The White House, it's called White House Sub Shop. It's one of those mom and pop shops where anybody who Atlantic City used to draw everybody. You look on the pictures. I mean, DiMaggio, Mattingly. I like Sinbad myself. So Sinbad was there. I mean,
Oh, really was in there?
yeah, there were so many famous people all over. I mean, there were we didn't even have enough time to look through every single picture and see all the famous people.
And that's the other thing. I wish I'd have got a couple pictures in there because, I didn't. And I was just so amazed looking around. That's the one time I take pictures all the time, and I just didn't even think about it in there because it was pretty amazing. It was a hole in the wall. It was amazing.
Yeah, like I said, and the food was really good. I mean, cheesesteaks and that sort. I might have been there once or twice or three.
I think the bread's a little different up there.
It is supposedly the water, and it's like it was a half a block from the hotel. The first day we drove for 20 minutes to get there, going around the block. Then I went back that night. We walked. There was
Okay, part of it was you had a North Carolina driver in a New Jersey city.
yeah. People drive a little wild out there. So yeah, that was fun, and that goes back to one of the other reasons about conferences. And there's nothing like meeting people face to face and hanging out and connecting just then. I talk to Dr. Ballard on Voxer regularly and J-Lo, and I see Grace at our meetings and everything. But when you're at a conference, the energy is there. You have time set apart just for that with nothing else really on your plate. And just the connection there. Now I feel so much more comfortable, and I feel like there's been a relationship formed over the past couple of years where we see each other in person. When I do go to the conference, it's like it kind of is like hanging out with family again. I used to think that was kind of garbage when people would say that, but now when it's year after year, you are starting to build these relationships. At least I am. I haven't been in the game quite as long as Judy. Judy, how many conferences? Like 50 EDAs? How many have you been to?
Well, since I was 21 years old, it's got to be almost every year. So it's got to be at least 20. It's a lot.
Nice. And again, I mean, you get to see a lot of the same people you watch as your careers progress and people move in and out and all that. It's fantastic. And the fact, just here, we have Grace talking about Dr. Cohen and the future professional. Judy saying Dr. Cohen was president when she was there. And then on the side of her, Betsy talking about how the Cohens have helped him out. That right there just goes to show you how important it is to really connect in person, because there's only so much you could do online. I mean, I'm not going to lie. The Blabs are cool and Google Hangouts, but there will always be a place for Eastern District Conference, always a place for state conferences, always a place for the national conference, because there's nothing better than face-to-face. It's the primary way that I learn, that I connect. I mean, I could have periscoped anyone's session out, and you sit at home and you go, okay, you're learning a little bit, but there's nothing like being in that session, being able to raise my hand. Well, I'm kind of rude. I just shout out when I have a question, but there's nothing like that, and it's fantastic. I was psyched up, and I'll be going to more, I'm sure, in the future. Jayla, do you want to talk about your favorite part? And again, you can't talk about your own keynote.
No. Although I did have fun. Can't deny I had a lot of fun. That was fun. I think my favorite part this time, and every conference brings something different. As you get to be as old as I am, because I play old person's basketball, as you get to be as old as I am, you find that the rich conversations you have in between sessions becomes the most important part of your conference, right? So I met very new people. I met new vendors. I hung out with people in the evenings and introduced myself. I met a lot of OFPs, and there's no bigger joy than for me as a supervisor to guide them, shake their hand, give them my email address, view their resume, make some suggestions, because that was me. And so paying it forward means giving them everything I am and all that I've got, so that they can come into the profession as the very elite of the profession, because they have literally things on their resume that nobody else has, and trying to help them get into the schools, because we need them as the champions of the next generation. Because, as I said in my keynote, the children of today that are entering kindergarten as the class of 2029, we don't know what their life is going to be like. And these OFPs are taking it on. And so we've got to connect the generations and make them as prepared as we can. So the conversations for me, not so much the sessions. And I got to tell you, the supervisors, you know, of course, I had 7 teachers there. They're going to go out. They're going to learn all the things they need to learn. They're going to bring activities home. As a supervisor, I need to connect and network. And that best happens in my in-between times with the vendors, you know, for a drink at night and meeting people. It was really a joy to see old friends, to make new ones. And that's the stage I'm in my career. So those instances were the highlight for me.
Mad Libs, Congo Land, all that.
And doing Mad Libs. For those of you in the audience who don't know what they are, Google it, get a book, do the
Mad Libs are hilarious. All right, so I'll go with my favorite. My ultimate favorite part was when Dr. Ballard called J-Lo up to the stage, and they did the funniest bit in the world. And I'm sure if there weren't kids around, it would have been a little funnier, because there would have been a couple bombs dropped in there. But it was hilarious the way you were able to bring her up, I thought, which was really cool. And the whole thing about, you know, I'm from North Carolina, we say things one way. I'm from Jersey, we say things another way. I just thought it was really, really cool. And then the fact that you were able, Dr. Bauer was able to draw in J-Lo's keynote in there was really cool. And it was really obvious that you two have a strong relationship going on with each other. So for me, I love both of y'all, and you're both absolutely hilarious. And seeing you together shining and just absolutely kicking tail was a pretty cool sight.
Well, you know, it was funny. You should have seen the practice sessions. But it was fun though. We had practiced a little bit just on like trying to find our words, and, what we were going to say and how we were going to respond. And it was cool. And I didn't know how that would work. I was really nervous about parts of it because, you know, this isn't my crowd. These people I don't know. And for a lot of people. So I appreciate you saying that. But yeah, I had to get Joe up there. That was the only way to relax me enough to laugh a little bit and get started.
You were nervous because you didn't know what was going to come out of my mouth for real? Is that it?
Scared as hell. I never know what's going to come out of your mouth. But yeah, it was good.
Grace out. Bye, Gracie. And you could jump back in, Betsy, if you want. And then I'm going to talk about one session that kind of blew my mind. And it was Dr. Radigan and Dr. Cohn's session. Not Dr. Cohn, Dr. Byron. So it's Dr. Radigan, Dr. Byron, both Rowan professors who I had. And I didn't even realize at first that they were the ones putting on. I looked at the title, it got me. And it was called Sports Science K20. And they have a really cool approach and a project that they're getting started on. So much so that afterwards I said, we have to interview you for the Voxcast. So what their project is they're coming up with STEM, and they added the A in there for the arts, STEAM, different ways they can add that into the classroom, and that they are willing to have people come out. They're willing to go to people's schools. So much feedback. Anyway, it was good. I don't know what Judy's doing down there.
He's frozen.
So Betsy is here. I'll let Betsy talk. What's going on, Betsy?
You were just talking and then you stopped. What's going on? Or are you just laughing at Judy?
I was laughing at Judy, and I'm hearing so much feedback, so I'm not worried about it. Just know.
Oh, okay. Oh, I wanted to hear more about that session because there was, you know, my one comment is that there was dueling sessions, so that it was really difficult to pick which one you were going to go to at different times, or at least when I actually had free time. So that was difficult. So I wanted to hear about the one that you went to.
I'll come back.
Keep talking.
Hopefully my volume's a little better now. There we go. So
Good.
So it was
It is, it's
sports
good.
science where they broke down different movements and were saying, hey, we should be bringing math and science into phys ed, not replacing what we're doing, but it so naturally is there already that you just have to draw attention to it. And they said they would come out to schools in Jersey, they'll video chat with people, and they want to create lessons of sports science in the class, whether it's your health or your phys ed class, and they're willing to do it. So we have a kinesiologist who is a doctor in kinesiology willing to come out and help phys ed teachers. And their point was, this is where the grant money's coming from now. This is, I mean, we talk about legitimizing phys ed, and we could have the whole conversation about how, we shouldn't feel bad about what we are in and of itself with movement. But the fact is, science and math are there already. And it was really cool to see the projects they were doing with VO2 Max for the older high school people, and how even for they went in elementary school and they were doing levers. It was really, really cool. And this project I'm really excited about. And they're already on it. They have a website, although it's not ready for the public yet, but they're saying we want to offer this for free. We want to meet with teachers. We want to get this rolling. And over the summer, they're both going to attack the project full force and then roll it out, I think, once the school year comes. So I think that was, for me, it was mind-blowing to see them go on there. And I'm also going to say that they asked the question and I got it right, and Nick Emlich got it wrong. That probably was one of the highlights as well.
I thought you were going to say that earlier when you're, what was the highlight? I was the only one in the room.
I don't want to say that. I just needed to be Nick. That's all. I don't care about anyone else. So that was really cool. So like I said, that session made it worth it.
That's really good. We've been trying to do a lot of integration for a long time. People have been trying to. I know when it first come on the scene, it just made me so mad when people said they were going to integrate math and they were just keeping score. I mean, if you're going to integrate, the thing that I always try to work with my teachers in North Carolina was at least integrate at the grade level that they're at. You know what I mean? What are some of those standards? What are some of the things? If you're doing adding and subtracting in high school, you're not integrating.
Skip counting. Skip counting.
Yeah. So meaningful integration is good. And then how we're applying some of these areas to our field, I think that's outstanding. I hate I missed them, but I'd love to do a video chat with them or have them on a podcast and hear it out. Cause I think it's great. I think it's great. They're willing to come out and do that and help everybody.
Yeah. And we're definitely going to do a Voxcast. I told them already they're on board about getting the message out, which is cool. And again, I'm not saying we have to change what we're doing. I'm saying it's already there. You're just drawing attention. I'm not a math teacher. I can teach math in my class, and I could change a bunch of stuff to add a lot more math in, but I don't want to change anything. I'm not trying to do the math teacher's job. What I'm doing is already hitting my standards the way I'm hitting them and adding math into what we're doing already. And that's the biggest part. And I know a lot of people get worried because, 10 years ago, there's a big push for that.
And where it fits and where it's appropriate. When it's like, a square and a round hole, it's not going to fit, So it's like, where it's appropriate, we should add. We should be able to recognize that and bring that to the attention of our students. So I like it. I think it's good.
Yeah, I mean, one of the easiest ones, Lynn, what's her name? Lynn Burrows says she doesn't teach zigzag. She teaches obtuse and acute and right angles. Like, that's perfect right there. You're already doing it. You're not bringing in anything new. You're just showing them what they're already doing. So things like that, when we talk about angles going towards goals on the 2-on-1, what happens when your angle's too close? What happens when your angle gets farther? You go over the obtuse and acute there again, and you hammer it home. So it's already there.
Well, guess what? It's all offensive strategy in another area. So to get to an open space, there you go. Mm-hmm.
But here's the other piece. Just like they want us to infuse those STEM concepts, the moral courage is about getting the classroom teacher to be physically active in the classroom. So it goes both ways and equally important.
Yeah, I think in the early days, I remember just years ago, people were scared because it was a new concept. And it was like, we're not going to do reading in PE but then we literally had schools in North Carolina where the phys ed teacher had to sit down for the first 15 minutes of PE to teach reading. So it's taken us some of those processes. That's part of that whole, be grateful, not hateful. is we went through that, but we went through it and now we're somewhere else because we've learned from it. Somebody at least took a step, and now we're moving forward with something. So hopefully the group that Justin's talking about hopefully will be sort of a fallout as well of what comes out of how do we integrate appropriately.
Yeah. Yeah, when you have somebody who has a doctorate in kinesiology who says, I'm going to help your program for free. I mean, come on. How can we not do it? He teaches college level kinesiology classes. Dr. Radigan's done his classes for years. So the fact that we're going to have these resources for free and all they want to do is just lift the profession up, that's something I can get a hold of. I could jump right on that without a problem. That's easy for me. All right. Anyone else lasting memories of the conference before we call it an evening? Anyone?
Well, exactly. Anything down to earth guy.
Kim, was that you? Hello?
Somebody asked a question. I didn't.
All right. So I believe
Really down to
we are
earth
going
guy.
to call it evening. My audio, I think, is acting a little crazy.
You can't forget the New Jersey for social, Justin. That was an epic time. You missed it. The social.
Hi, Judy.
J-Lo's calling. That's how good it was. That's how good the social was. It was so good. Boom.
Yeah, I understand. There's a few pictures from that too. It's like, let's see if we can find those.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even realize it was going on. I did not skip it. I just didn't realize. I know I got an
Let's just
email
say we
saying
made a grand entrance.
somebody said there's something New Jersey is going to pay for dinner, which I wish I had known about. And I just, you know what happened? I started doing sub plans. Anyway, it got a little crazy. So next year I'll have to hit that out. Do we know, are we having one next year, or is it going to roll in with the Shape America conference to the AXA when it's in our, whatever?
Eastern District will be in Boston with the Shape America National Convention next year in 2017 in March. New Jersey AFIRT's convention will, as always, be a family reunion in February of 2016.
Yeah, and if you get a chance, definitely New Jersey AFIRT's a good time. All right, Dr. Ballard, anything else?
I appreciate it. It's been awesome. I love seeing you guys and hanging out.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening. And thanks for hanging. We'll put this out on the podcast. Bye, Betsy. Thanks for hanging. See you all in 2017, Boston.
Enjoy the rest of the school year, everybody. Love those kids.
Thanks, Justin.